Let's be honest, the TX-41 Sterilizer is one of the worst weapons in Helldivers 2. It's a controversial, meme-tier support weapon that most players skip over for a very good reason. It's a weapon that promises strategic crowd control, but in reality, delivers a little more than a puff of disappointment. But what if a few key tweaks could make it a meta? What if this forgotten stratagem could be transformed from a liability into a must-pick for higher difficulty missions? We're not just talking about a simple damage increase, we're talking about a fundamental reimagining of its role. Today, we're breaking down the specific surgical buffs to its damage, range, and crowd control that would elevate the Sterilizer from a joke to a genuine battlefield controller. Hour ahead, take notes. This is how you could potentially save the Sterilizer. Before we can fix the Sterilizer, we need to get real about why it fails. On paper, a weapon that sprays a cloud of caustic gas to slow and confuse enemies sounds like a fantastic support tool. In practice, it's a weapon that fails at its own speciality. First, let's talk about damage, or the complete lack of it. The numbers are insulting. The direct spray deals a tiny amount of damage, and the lingering poison effect is reportedly around 25 damage per second. To put that in perspective, that makes it one of the lowest damage support weapons in the game by a huge margin. You'll spend precious seconds hosing down a single hunter, an enemy other weapons can deal with within a fraction of a second. Against anything bigger like a warrior or a brute commander, you might as well be using a strongly worded letter. You'll empty a huge chunk of your fuel tank just to take down a couple of medium-sized bugs, making it horrifically inefficient. For a support weapon that takes up a lot of slots that could have been a grenade launcher, autocannon or quasar cannon, this level of damage isn't just bad, it's a tactical liability. It fails the most basic test of a weapon, reliably eliminating threats. Second, there's the range. The Sterilizer forces you to get uncomfortably close to the very enemies you're trying to control. This puts you in extreme danger, especially against the enemies you want to use it on, fast moving hunters or charging biospewers. A flamethrower justifies this risk with immense stopping power that can stagger and incinerate threats. The Sterilizer offers no such trade-off. You run into the thick of it, spray a gas, and find the enemies are still very much alive and still in your personal space. Recent patches improve the recoil, but the core problem remains: its effective range is suicidal. Finally, and maybe the most damning problem, is its unique trait, crowd control. The Sterilizer applies a confusion effect that sometimes causes enemies to attack each other. And while watching a charger accidentally trample a few scavengers is funny for a second, the effect is inconsistent, short-lived, and unreliable. More often than not, enemies just continue their beeline right for you. The slow effect is barely noticeable in the heat of battle, compared to the hard stun of a EMS mortar or a static field. The Sterilizer's version of crowd control is a joke. It's a weapon that promises to give your team breathing room, but often just get its user killed. This is why it's a meme. It underperforms in every category and fails to justify its existence in any serious loadout. So let's start with the most obvious failure, the damage. A support weapon doesn't need to melt bio titans, but it has to be able to handle the small stuff and help take down the tougher targets. The current damage is a non-starter. First change, double the direct damage on spray. I know that sounds like a lot, but given how low it is to start with, it's a necessary adjustment. This would still keep its raw damage below the flamethrower, preserving the flamethrower's identity as the premier close-range damage dealer. But what it would do is turn the Sterilizer from a pea shooter into a more respectable anti-horde tool. So, what would this look like in game? Suddenly, a short burst wouldn't just tickle a pack of hunters, it would kill them. A Sterilizer user could confidently hold a flank against waves of smaller bugs, which is a core part of what a crowd control weapon should do. This isn't about turning it into an elite killer, it's about making sure you can do its primary job of clearing out the little guys so the rest of the squad can focus on the heavies. Next, let's bump up the damage over time from the gas. The current 25 DPS is a joke. Let's make it more meaningful. Even if you only have time to give a brute commander a quick spray before switching to your primary, that lingering damage is now actually doing something. It's softening the target for your teammates, making their shots more effective, and ensuring your contribution doesn't end the second you stop firing. This damage buff is foundation. Without it, none of the other changes matter. A weapon that can kill is just a tool, not a weapon. and on the chaotic battlefields of Helldivers 2, you need a weapon. This change respects the weapon's identity, while giving it the lethality it needs to be anything other than a wasted stratagem slot. With the damage at a respectable level, we can tackle the Sterilizer's other big flaw, its suicidal range and weak confusion effect. Fixing this takes a two-pronged approach that redefines how you use it. First, the range. The current range just doesn't work in higher difficulty play. You're forced into melee distance, where a single hunter pounce or a spear of vomit means instant death. The solution? Increase the Sterilizer's effective range by at least 50%, pushing it out to a more comfortable 15 or 20 meters. This one change would be massive. It would let a Helldiver lay down a cloud of gas from behind a rock, affecting an approaching patrol before they even top you. You could kite enemies, a tactic that's currently impossible. Imagine backpedaling while spraying a charger, keeping it at the edge of your gas stream, slowing it and disrupting its charge without being in instant stomp range. This moves the Sterilizer from a high-risk, low-reward weapon to a medium-range tactical controller. Second, and this is the exciting part, we need to completely overhaul the crowd control effect. The current confusion is weak and unreliable. Instead of a random flare, the Sterilizer's gas should inflict a true frenzy or panic status effect. When an enemy is soaked in the new gas, it should aggressively target the nearest living thing, whether it is a friend or a foe. Think about the strategic possibilities. You see a Bio-Titan lumbering towards you. Surrounded by warriors, you douse the whole group with frenzy gas. The warriors, instead of charging you immediately, will immediately turn and swarm their own Bio-Titan. The charger that was about to flatten your teammates gets bogged down as it's attacked from all sides by his frenzy buddies. This is what a true crowd controller looks like. It's not just about stopping enemies, it's about turning their strength against them. This will be especially powerful against termites, turn their numbers from their greatest asset into their greatest weakness. It will create chaos, disrupt formations, and give your squad genuine, life-saving breathing room. This would give the Sterilizer a unique and powerful niche that no other weapon can fill. Okay, for the final piece of the puzzle, we need to address the Sterilizer's lack of lasting battlefield presence. Unlike the flamethrower, which leaves a pool of fire, the Sterilizer's gas vanishes almost instantly. This is a huge missed opportunity. The solution is to give it a lingering area denial effect. When sprayed on the ground, the gas should create a visible toxic cloud that sticks around for, say, 5 to 10 seconds, or in between. Any enemy that walks into the cloud will take continuous damage over time, and after a short exposure, get hit with the new frenzy effect, which we just talked about. This would be a game changer. Suddenly, the Sterilizer isn't just a direct fire weapon, it's a tool for shaping the battlefield. You could use it to block off a bug breach, forcing enemies to either wait or pass through a toxic frenzy-inducing cloud. You could spray it across a doorway to create a defensive barrier that slows and damages anything that tries to get in. During the extraction, you could also just lay down lines of gas to create kill zone and funnel enemies right into your sentry turrets. The lingering gas provides powerful synergy with the rest of the Helldiver arsenal. You could gas an area and then have a teammate throw in an Eagle napalm strike into it. The enemy slowed and disoriented will be unable to escape the flames, taking massive combined damage. It turns the weapon from a purely reactive tool into a proactive, strategic one. You're no longer just responding to threats, you're anticipating them and setting up the battlefield to your own advantage. This finally delivers on the promise of a gas weapon and would elevate the Sterilizer into a top-tier tactical support weapon. When these three changes, a serious damage overhaul, a transformation of range and crowd control, and the addition of a lingering area denial cloud, the TX-41 Sterilizer goes from a democratic disgrace to a must-pick tactical weapon. It would carve out a unique niche for itself as the premier battlefield controller stratagem, without stepping on the toes of pure damage dealers like the flamethrower. It will become a weapon that rewards smart positioning and tactical thinking, the very essence of what makes Helldivers 2 great. But that's just my take. What do you think? Are these the right buffs to save the Sterilizer? Is there another change you'll make? And what's the one weapon you think Arrowhead needs to buff next? Let me know down in the comments, and if you want more Helldivers strategy deep dives, spread some managed democracy to that subscribe button, and also ring that bell button so you don't miss out on the next one. Until then, I'll see you all in the next drop, Helldivers.